Let's go. Alrighty, because I love my XT, you see? You know what I'm talking about. It gets you going and shit. At XT, you see? You know what I'm talking about. You put it in and it goes and shit. You see? My XT, my 3900 XT. I miss it and I want it back. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, and hello. My name is Robbie Astral, and you have stumbled upon Robbi Tech. Today, what have we got today for our viewers? Look, it's another one of those little bit of a marketplace. I'd have to say roast, perhaps a little bit of used parts hunt. It'll definitely be a used parts hunt guide, as well as who knows what we end up finding. It might be a bloody awesome buy as well. So we're going to be dealing with some customers at the same time. We've only got a couple of miscellaneous items left to sell. We're trying to get that kitty up for our 3900 XT fund refund slash hopefully cross our fingers comes through the warranty bonus as well, because I need to be in a position where I don't have to rely on something to potentially not come back to me. So we're getting close, but unfortunately, you know, I have to be realistic. There are a lot of bills as well, so I can't just splurge on that. And I would really like that you know, that chip back. Not necessarily that chip if it's gone, unfortunately, but definitely one of the same bin caliber. It's an XT chip, so it is definitely binned well. But with that in mind, you have to consider that when I looked at this and assessed the chip's quality myself personally, I found it extremely awesome, and that's why I'm really scared about what I'm going to get in return. The alternatives aren't that pleasing, going Intel all of a sudden from AMD, or potentially a 5900X that is non-existent. So I don't know, guys. I seriously don't know. But keeping that in mind, we've let's get into. I've already got a few items lined up, frankly, but you know, we're going to scroll through and we might get to them naturally instead. I would prefer that. If we're struggling, then I will hit those items up, and hopefully some of them which I'm actually, you know, genuinely interested in are still available. Others are there because people be playing the PC master race against the Facebook marketplace is what we're doing, and let's get a cruise in, okay? So look, today it's one of those days as well. I'm just going to mention where finally the air temperatures come down from the summer warmth, and it's feeling like damn mid autumn or something. Like the leaves are still green and everything, but yeah, I'll be honest, that sudden change, it's not cold, it's just sort of cool and you can feel it, you know. So I'm happy. I'm a hoodie man. I'm a cap hoodie man. You know, I don't wear the cap backwards like some. And today I'm pretty loose, guys, so hopefully I won't be too, I don't know, vivacious upon the roasting itself, you know, because yeah, that wouldn't be too swell if I'm too much of a negative Nancy on some people and some poor folk, especially when they're trying to earn an honest dollar. But I'm pretty good at this stuff, frankly. I'm pretty good at this stuff, so you know, like, I know what we're after, I know what we need. I could go through this list for real, and it's a good list, but we might scroll through some stuff here. So we got what do we got here? GTX 750. That would be too big by a car. Car was swapped out of a pre-built computer and was never used. Had small amount of dust on the fan blades. He said, why don't you just tidy that dust up a little bit? He wants to be genuine, and what? Just get the vacuum cleaner, dust it out. $70 for it instead, bro. Get settle on 65. Let's go. But that's decent. I got a 660 Ti recently for about $75. That was pre-COVID, so maybe I got ripped off, frankly. But it did the job in a budget bill for a fella for a little time at least. Probably gave him enough time to get himself something a bit more sinister, you know, in appeal. But who knows if he did or not. So we got the mad beats on in the background as well. We've got a shout out to the DCMA free music. Love you long time. Yeah, you know, it's cream of the crop. It's decent background drop. With that in mind, you have to consider that some of these beats you put them up so you put them to your ear and you're like, yeah, they're not really doing it for me. So hopefully I don't lose too much of my mojo as we progress through. So that's a decent buy there. I would do that. We've got $15 PC parts here. Whoa, let's go, people. It's out of stock. ADX 550 watt. Tick. There's a little DVD writer. Tick. Yeah, I guess you got $15 worth of shit here, bro. I don't know if I'm gonna deal with that. It's out of stock. If this has not sold after long weekend, we'll be going to a recycling plant. Yikes, bro. Come on, man. So he sold it and he's in Sky, so that is massive. Okay, so as we progress through, what else we got? We got a $90 4GB HDD. So look, to be brutally honest, you have to be careful about these drives because frankly, they would have been used in potentially surveillance equipment or something like that. So you want to look at the age, you want to consider any sort of degradation over time, packet loss and whatnot. Let's just see, 4GB, Western Digital, hard drive, $146. So what I like about this guy is he's very price conscientious. He's a very good pricer. $90 for something that costs $146. It costs, as you can see, that he's dropped that price from $150. So you have to love him for it. He's realized that, you know, $150 and it's as new. 4GB 3.5 inch HDD was used only to back up service a short time. So what is there more to say except it was continuously backing up service for a short time? Yeah, so realistically 4GB for $90 is decent. You have to ask yourself, can you trust the fact that, look, we can have a look here. We should be able to see the date on it. So 23rd of October 2015. So it's only 6 years of age or thereabouts, and you have to consider that into the fray and factor it in, because realistically speaking, I don't care what he says, they don't sit on shelves for that long, okay? And I doubt he had them sitting on a shelf until the day he needed to use them. So you have to be realistic. $90, yeah, you'd expect to pay something like that for it. I probably even drop him to, I want to drop him to 70, frankly, if possible. You can get 1-2 terabyte drives, hard drives, which are used essentially and flogged off from between $10 to $30 a pop nowadays at times, if the time is right for you when you're buying these. So I've seen a lot of really good deals regarding hard drives. So if you're a conscientious buyer, you probably want to bring him down to 70 if possible. If not, consider holding off until the rest of the market's uploaded their drives, and you can essentially, you know, unless you really need those fat 4 terabyte hard drives, mechanical drives, then you might get away with a couple of twos for $40 anyway, and be content using that extra SATA port for them. So that's another thing to consider. So let's move on. So here we got another, and he's in Melton. So I love this. They're all in Melton currently. These fellas, Troy Hocking. We have to say hi to Troy. I know Troy is another 2019 downloader. You know what I mean? Like, he gets down on the Facebook and shit. But Trey Hocking, 2019. So he's definitely a soldier. He's been hawking shit for a good fucking 2 years now at the very least. You can see, you can have a look at Troy's profile here. We'll see he's got about 25 ratings if we know him good enough. Oh my god. He knows how to sell shit, people. We've got a real seller on our hands. Baby monitors, smoke alarms, like he's taking the kitchen sink as well, frankly. Oh bro, no. 24 processor motherboard combo. $10. So that'd be interesting, but I don't know if it's in working condition or not. He's got a power supply available. You have to be realistic, because Ollie's dropped the ball a couple of times in his 16 listings. He's got an average of about 4.5. So what's gone wrong in Ollie's neck of the wood? He's from Cranbourne. That's what we call it here down in Melbourne. You have to sort of ask yourself, is he swell? So it's nothing special. It's something that an enthusiast would consider. for $10, you know, if you got a spare bill, yeah. But it's also one of those things that I've got some stuff like that. If I really had someone approach me, I probably, or knew of someone, I'd give them away for free. So you have to be realistic. Certain items might be collectible as well. Like for fun, you can have those Pentium 3 processors and stuff, which are just, for example, just really fat little PCIe slotted base chips, and they're pretty interesting. You can have a lot of fun with that sort of stuff. So I've got one myself. I broke the latch on one of them, but it still slots in quite firmly. But I'm annoyed about that, because if I ever wanted to resell it to a collector or something, it's sort of compromised in a way, shape or form. There is a chance that you could pick this up for very cheap if you're willing to wait for a little bit. We've got an Asus motherboard Xeon 16 gigabytes of RAM combo here, and that looks pretty interesting. $190 for is a fair ask and a fair shake of a wallet to anyone's day. And with this motherboard combo, you do get 16 gigabytes of DDR3 1333 megahertz memory. Now the gentleman does say, is it a gentleman? Let's double check. It's Aaron. So Aaron's got 23 5 stars Aaron, and he's a traveler. He's joined in 2012, so we call the 2012 kids travelers. So he's down in the Roeville or Robile area, where you have to be sort of mobile. It's just past the Springvale and you know, just over the Notting Hill. It's an interesting location. It actually starts to get a little bit steep in that section of Melbourne, frankly, one of the higher parts if you're interested in geography. But to be brutally honest, I don't know, because look, 13 like an Intel Xeon E3 1230 on the other hand, the equivalency is suggested that it's the equivalent of an i7 third generation. It's got 3.3 gigahertz on the base core. The max turbo frequency is at 3.7 gigahertz, so it's something decent. Is it unlockable is another story. You'd probably have to have definitely the right BIOS in place to run that sort of a chip. It is essentially from a server grade alignment to begin with. It was discontinued and launch date was back in 2012, so it's almost 10 years of age now on the 22 nanometer processor deck slash 4 cores, 8 threads. You know, if it's gonna hit your, if you can manage to get it over 4 gigahertz with 8 threads, something like that, it's still gonna play games okay for you, I guess. It's not gonna be too much of a bottleneck, but it'll still be a bottleneck on the system. And it is the old architecture that we're talking about here, so it's something to consider if you fear the bottleneck. You get me? Ooh, like a goose. But anyway, we're not going to stagnate too long. It's something that I've definitely talked him down. He's a slasher as well, the 190 to the 100, that 200. That could be premeditated, where he's not planning on selling anything for a couple of days until he's got some time to deal with customers anyway. And you'll know this, for example, if you were like, he's an avid seller to have 23 actual ratings. You know, he has to have sold at least 40 or 50 items minimum, let alone forcing people to actually rate him, because I don't get ratings. I guess Aaron has to make some money somehow. He does realize he's making the click sort of symbol. I hope he notices that. So I'm a little bit worried in the palm trees there, whether that's actually Beverly Hills and he's got a bit of a backdrop to, you know, that sort of a heyday period where it was click. But yeah, Aaron 2012, he's a traveler. We'll call him a traveler, not a gangster. So we'll probably leave that Xeon alone for the time being. It might be a little bit high. Nice, I like this a lot. So an Asus GTX 650. It's got only 1 gigabyte of GDR5 RAM on it. It's $40. Look, I take it for 30. He's in Noble Park or thereabouts, close to Dandenong. And understand that this is the proper way of pronouncing these suburbs. If you're ever here in Melbourne, don't say Dandenong. It's Dandenong. Okay, so alright, so understand, look at that card. It's a beautiful card. Very nice looking card. It actually looks like a 560, frankly. And if you don't believe me, it does say GDX 650 there. So if we have a closer look at it, you can see it right there. And that is a beautiful card. Like, I would probably do about 30 for that, and I'll tell you why. So for example, this card is great for posting. So if you are an avid, say, if you're getting into, say, trying to flip computers or something, then you have to understand that when you go test a computer, you want to put your best bloody graphics card in there. So having something else cheaper like this for testing computers, you know, so that they boot and they, you know, if you haven't got an integrated chip in the CPU itself, then a discrete graphics card like this is perfect, guys. And yeah, like, so I'll show you, like, that is genuinely a GTX 560. So look at that, that's a 650. I didn't even realize they looked exactly the same. So they've been rehashing that heatsink for a while. Look, it's pretty nifty. I'm not going to complain. They're pretty cool, you know. They look nice. They got a fat bit of you know, considering the amount that it takes up. 2 DVI ports. I'm not too sure what the connections are there. Talking down to the 30, you got yourself a bargain, people, or at least a solid deal. So guys, next we've got Harry J. Mason, and this board, I'm just going to tell you straight off the bat, is a rip-off. Okay. So the motherboard is an Asus P5 E3 Deluxe. I would not sell that for more than, I would say, $40 or $50, frankly. So he's asking twice the amount. It's an LGA 775 socket, no integrated graphics. It's got no graphics because it's got no CPU, buddy. DDR3. So it takes DDR3. He's in Drawing or something. I don't know. It's past Warragul, so it's a good 100 kilometers away from Melbourne, frankly. And I would not touch this with a 10-foot pole at that price, frankly. And I could show you, because I'm selling a very, very similar board for $40. So if you guys actually watched, if you guys actually had the luxury of watching my GPU analysis video alongside Greg Salazar, then you may have enjoyed the what was essentially a correction video as well on behalf of Greg, provided by myself. So I don't want to seem like I was being too nitty-picky on Greg. Everything was verified and justified to an nth degree regarding everything that was portrayed by myself. So have a look at the GPU analysis video of the current market situation, the GPU crisis, people. It's also linked in the description below. As the PC Master Race on Facebook Marketplace. Okay, but I've got myself. Alrighty, so for example, I'm selling a couple of one of those 300 megabits a second PCI slotted wireless adapters. I've actually had a couple. I'm regretfully selling the last one for only $30 because we need the funds in our little kitty bank. At the same time, it's a shame that it goes because it essentially brings to life any sort of old mobos, and for the fact that they don't actually make these anymore, the price is surprisingly right, because you can't do anything with those PCI slots anymore except provide this sort of functionality to those PCs nowadays, and this functionality isn't limited then by anything else. So if they do have a PCIe Express slot, I'll show you guys for example. So say you guys got, so that's your PCIe, got this one's gone, and I'm probably never going to have the luxury of owning another one, frankly. So that's the scary part, so I have to sort of consider that. That's why it's priced at $30. On the other hand, you could probably get yourself one of these. Guys, I just realized I got another one. This kid's coming in the field day. They're coming in, and we got some sort of a live. What's going on? We might have a post here. We might have a post, people. Here we go. No, we don't. So we just had a bit of an interlude, I would say. Unfortunately, oh, crikeys, guys, crikeys. I don't know what to say, frankly. I'm going to configure this video real quickly, guys. But can you tilt a little bit up for us all? Let's get him a bit more up, so that's a better position for myself to work in and for you guys to enjoy each other's company today. And I appreciate your company. So while you're here, don't forget to like and or subscribe. At the same time, follow. Socials are above us as well as below us in the description below. And I appreciate from Robbi Tech all the support that's been greatly received. Let us continue on with this chilling concoction of DCMA free approved music that YouTube can't stooge us with, and we can continue listening. So we've got a decent case here. We're gonna have a look at this case. It looks like it's in fairly decent condition. That would be perfect for a Blu-ray player. Add some value to it if you like. If you're after a crazy big super tower PC case to show off your water cooling system, it would have been back in the day perhaps, but you know, water cooling's come a long way since then, people. So we're going to need some space for some rads and things, so need to verify. But it is 900 series D, similar to the 1000D and 750D. It's a monster PC case. Look, for $49, it's nothing to complain about, considering for $20-25, half that price, you get a lot of literally trash. Unless it's not trash, it might be an interesting little pickup for someone, especially if maybe you just get it for 40 or 45 because you haven't got a spare couple of $2 coin. Australia, we use a $2 coin. I would have liked him to have opened it up at the very least, just showing inside, but you can see it's got all the slottage there. What is it missing regarding the cases themselves, regarding say hard drive bays and things like that? It's sort of useless, renders it useless if you don't have the proprietary ones, because you can never really get a nice snug fit on those, especially if you were to use that monster for, say, you know, your backup PC or something, and you just had 10 hard drives in there. I was guessing I have to do some, I'm surprisingly haven't looked into all this time a splitter for a SATA 3 6 gigabits a second transfer rate, and just split that transfer rate to the ability of 3 and 3 on the one port, so that you can get maximum amount of hard drives, mechanical hard drives that don't require additional speed in that regards, connected. So you can have say 12 connected to a 6-port PC, essentially. Yeah, so it's something I might have a look at right now. So I'm going to click my fingers and I'm going to be knowledged up for y'all. So could you just set it up in RAID? Like you get a RAID splitter, so it'd be a splitter for the SATA port / in RAID configuration that automatically associates what's connected as one drive instead, and it tricks the thing, so it's an unofficial RAID or something, like, you know what I mean, backyard raiding. You know, that could be a theory. That could be, oh god, I got that information from Linus Tech Tips. Ew. And like that, with a click of the fingers, we've established that our dreams have been pretty much broken. What I was thinking originally was the ability of PCIe lanes to be populated with SATA cards essentially, but realistically speaking, unfortunately guys, the SATA dual splitter / connector isn't really possible. It does exist in some way, shape or form, but look, splitting a SATA connection is not possible. Essentially, there are such things as SATA port multipliers according to the Stack Exchange fellow there, but more common Intel SATA controllers and motherboards don't support them. In a consumer level, it won't be a possible thing currently, unless you're probably paying an arm and a leg. Now this was also 4 years ago previous. We got some interesting stuff, so here we go. So we got a interesting $30 GTX 275 896 megabytes Asus. It'll be great for posting power hungry little devil. A little bit of a closer look at one of these. We'll probably establish that this is frankly as big as me, you know what I mean? So like we've got one here just right there. It's a 285 instead of 275. It's got the same Wild Horseman on it as well at the same time. There you can see the blower style cooler as well, so it's just over here. Interesting card. It's like a brick shit house frankly. What more to say except good luck to this fella. Let us continue with a few other little goodies that we might have lined up here. So here we go. Something very interesting. If for $50, I would definitely consider this whole package. I don't believe it to be the case, but he did have $90 indicated. If we have a look over here, $90 is indicated and it's been slashed to $50. It's Lian Li PC TUI 30 Mini ITX windowless case plus 4 fans and associated cords. Now if we move across, we shall find that if I press that macro, we end up losing that as well. Okay, so we will find that the case itself's got a little bit of a handle. It's got a few scuff marks, but we've got a couple of Noctua fans there. Noctua fans are pretty decent, and these are, I believe, thermal takes. So these look like Noctua sickle. Let's have a look. And he believe he's gonna chuck in an AMD cooler if someone buys everything. Well, like a bit of a rave cooler. But also these little nibbits. These little nibbits come in handy, guys. They seriously do come in handy, especially the splitters here. See those splitter ones? They are very interesting little things. They cost about, $7 or $8 a pop each at the retail shop at the very least. So it's something to consider that if these were all those splitters, System Builder would have a field day with that. That's enough to justify the $50 there. Everything else is just a bonus. So it's something that I would definitely consider buying for $50. So if we move on the other hand, we've got a cheap, decent gaming PC here. So not for profit, not negotiable, questions answered in ad will be ignored, no offers, no swaps, cash pickup only in Hawthorne. Decent gaming PC for sale for $399. Realistically, in this climate and age, I have to debate that. So we're going to assess that now. We'll punch for dick off esports games in 100 to 200 frames per second. Bullshit. And crotch thrust AAA titles at 60 plus frames per second. Now this guy is full of shit, because AAA titles today, even the newer stuff, struggles to play it at 60 frames per second. Gets a pretty smooth 60 on medium 1080 for Cyberpunk 2077 for $399. This guy's getting on medium 60 frames at 1080p on Cyberpunk. That is an authentic console killer. This is why the PC Master Race exists in the Facebook marketplace, people. Okay, this is exactly why, guys. Let's see what we got here. What we're dealing with is an i5 4570 quad core CPU, guys. ASRock Mobo, 1 RAM channel doesn't work, but otherwise fine. 8 gigabytes G-Skill RAM, I guess you only need one. Sapphire RX 470, 4 gigabyte Nitro with RGB, guys. That is a GDDR5 equivalent card that has a lower boost clock than anything NVIDIA was dropping at that day and age, and it's fucking awesome, people. You have to buy it for $399, 60 frames a second on Cyberpunk. It's unbelievable! On a side note, I am not sponsored by anyone here. My name is Robbie Astral. Welcome to Robbi Tech. And please hit the like and or subscribe button for more of this rant of mine, which is the PC Marketplace / roast master race. Does it exist or doesn't it in this place, frankly? And that's what we're trying to establish here. What is going on with prices today in general, and how the way people are going about selling things. So let's get back to this post here. So 500 gigabyte HDD, 450 watts out PSU. So look, I tell you what, that graphics card doesn't even require a PCIe slot there to power it, so you wouldn't need anything higher. But to be brutally honest, the way he's going about selling it for the price, this is why Robert Stevens got 3 stars, because everyone who's rated him has rated him poorly. And to be brutally honest, no one seems to be standing up for him on the opposite end, unless it's been 4 and a 4 split, where he's dogged 4 people to zeros and done 4 good deeds in return. So that's his balance in life. That's what he does. You know, every second PC he sells is bullshit as well. It's not to say that Robert Steven isn't that sort of a fella, or that sort of a fella. Let's have a closer look. It does look clean. It's got the modules in the wrong slots to begin with. That's the issue that he's got there. So that's probably what he was referring to, I guess. Otherwise, he's done a little bit of a negative sort of a Nancy. I'm not 100% sure, but just generally speaking, you wouldn't align 2 DIMM modules in the corresponding next to each other DIMM slots. You would place those, I think the word is adjacent to each other in parallel. So that's generally how a motherboard works. The question is whether it's the first one here or the second one that you actually populate. That's one of the things you have to look at. Then you want to run those in dual channel, okay? So that's one thing that we're going to consider. But look, to be brutally honest, that Sapphire card, regardless, is a very nice card, okay? So if you justify the fact that he's talking a bit of a hogwash regarding the performance capabilities of his card, you can at the very least understand that if he wasn't yelling at you here, that you would consider the fact that this PC has got some merit to it for the price. If the price is right, I'm guessing it comes a Windows 10 copy as well. Solid performer at an unbeatable price. Will play any game currently available at a frame rate that won't give you a brain aneurysm. He's full of the emotion in his cell mechanism. I don't know. He's caught the light really well, I guess. See how he's caught the light in that photo? That's the best that this PC is going to muster regarding image impression on the buyer itself. He's caught it in the right light, I'll tell you that much. But you notice that fan at the back? That looks like a epoxy fan as well. That's a mismatched fan on top there. That's Herb & Mustard style power supply, generic CPU. See how he's got everything hidden at the bottom there? And you can just see it off to the side there. So management wise, he's still very basic in his approach, you know, nothing special. Even when I did 399 systems with no cable management, I used to create a harness myself. I created a harness, I have it running down, and I have it completely buckled up and everything. So essentially you could just flick off a couple of things and you just put it back on and totally ready to rock and roll again if you need to dismember the PC. Even though to the naked eye it looked like it'd be a lot of work to do so, it was an easy way of disconnecting them. And that's just for the pure fact of it. Sometimes you even get into enjoying cable management when it comes to PCs, frankly, especially when you can do a really neat job, pardon the pun. We're going to continue moving on, people. So here we go. We've got 2 times Lenovo monitors, $105, was $120. 2 Lenovo monitors, good working condition. They look like they still got a bit of jizz on them, frankly. He didn't even mention the size of the monitors, so what he's dealing with right now is essentially a lot of people going, what's the size of the monitors? Does it have HDMI ports on the back? This is what they're asking. Okay, and that's what he's going to have to deal with every single customer he gets, because he's not clear on his approach. He's the Nary Warren as well, guys. Realistically, unless he wiped those down, I couldn't see myself going anywhere near than $60 for both of them. That's as far as I go. So I was selling these for chump at one stage when I was getting them. They're added in as a bonus to the sale. They're not worth much more anyway, frankly, in this day and age when it comes to monitors. And they use a lot of power. Not like this Dell monitor, for example, that I have here, which, whoops, I should actually turn off. It was in standby mode as well, but in standby mode, they will only use 3 volts of power. Start recording. Okay, guys, so what else we got in this part hunt sale /slab? PC parts Australian $15. So understand that the Australian dollar is approximately 75 US cents. So it's about a 25% up rate in that regards. And then you have to consider that this $15 would have cost you about, I don't know, $10, $11, $12 for these parts in the USA alone. That's amazing, guys. That's amazing. These parts in the USA would be like $10 for these parts. And this is why we need to analyze this regardless of what it is. We've got a DVD player there. You know, for someone that's like $5 worth for some sort of, you know, parts nowadays, a bit obsolete. ATX power supply, 550 watt Herman Mustard. Those cables are about so long on them, so they're not going to really reach much distance. Case is missing a few things. There's a few hard drive bays that may be able to be converted and sprayed for someone who knows what they're doing, but realistically they won't apply to anything in general. It is going to the trash, and if you want it, you can probably pick it up for $5 or $10 from him at the most. So here we got something different. We've got a GeForce GTX 1660 Ti Gaming X 6GB. I believe it's a card that he hasn't even pulled out of the unit yet. Really interesting. For $600, I'm hoping that's a GDR6 rather than GDR5 1660 Ti there. Selling due to an upgrade, of course. Runs high demanding games very comfortably, such as Apex Legends, which is centered around the CPU a lot, Warzone, Battlefield, GTA, which is very old, Metro, etc. He's asking an exorbitant fee for that card, frankly. I don't care what the market's like. I want to see how much. So the lowest current price for one of these is essentially about $699. You get 1660 Super Overclocked Edition, 6GB, $479 new. This guy paid an exorbitant amount and he's asking a lot. He's not aware of what the market value is. If he's planning on losing $100 in the transaction, he's a fool. He should just leave it at the 500, get people wanting to buy it. Essentially, the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1660 Ti is as good as it gets when it comes to budget GPUs. While the GTX 1660 Super is a close contender, the Ti is hard to beat as the best GPU for budget gaming. It is, after all, the fastest growing card in NVIDIA's Turing line, guys. It's a Turing line, you have to remember that as well. Like, for example, for that price, you could get yourself, if you're lucky enough and you're shopping savvy, you could get yourself RTX 2070 base model, 8GB, you know what I mean? Those were new about $800 at times. Secondhand by now, that's what you would expect, even though the market is crazy at the moment. That's what you want to pay, no more. So what he's asking, like I said, is an insane amount. Let's see if he's got some better pictures. No, he's upgrading, so he's not going to even pull it out. He's afraid to pull it out. He looks at it like it's a monster. I don't see it as such. So here we go. Computer parts, various Australian $100 electronics computer listed in Geelong, Victoria. So interesting AMD board there. May even have like a FX Black or something. $100 was $150 in stock. Writes it in paint on his pictures so he knows what he's paying. But I'm just wondering where he's getting them then from. If he's so well organized, noting down everything that he's doing on the pics himself. But Steve from Geelong has not left us with any other information, which really sucks, because for a nifty $100 bill, you'd at least want a picture that you can clearly see what the items are, and we don't get the luxury of that, guys. A bit of RAM module there. There's another little PCI, I don't know what that is, for a sound card. Looks like it's got an antenna there though. USB slot slash what the f is going on. A couple of manky fans, manky useless fans. This is all garbage. You can even see that the keyboard hasn't even got a connection to the USB port. Like, what is this garbage? $100? This guy's crazy. Maybe that could be salvaged. There's a PCI slot card there as well. If that works, if it works, okay? And this board over here, on the other hand, interesting. What's in the box? In the box today. So we're going to continue on our merry cruise, ready to hit the club with our hip hop step buzz. Selling my game rig, bought this 6 months ago for $2,700. Was it new at the time? I hope so. I barely, because look, 6 months of continuous use in this guy's establishment. Look at the amount of dust he's got in the goddamn power supply as well. Like, look at it. See, the scary part is these people definitely are afraid to tinker with their stuff, and that's fine. But what happens is they price it at what they believe it should be according to what they think a depreciating item like this would actually be priced at within a market that is quite crazy at the moment. And these figures are contributing to the mess, frankly. They're contributing to the mess, people, because 2,700 and he wants 2,250. So he's lost, what's that, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. He's lost $450 on an item 6 months ago. Look, to be honest, he got ripped off about $450, $500 on an item 6 to 7 months ago, frankly, if he's had it for that little of a time. Okay, then on top of that, drop that another $400, $500, and then you're going to consider bartering with everyone else, frankly, to be brutally honest, who is selling it at the right price before you would even consider this, let alone this dusty mess that is a PC at $22.50. No way, get out of here. Come on, let's go. I haven't got time for this type of shit today, guys. No offense to him, good luck on his sale. Okay, who knows how low he will go. Okay, I hate it when people like maybe see something that they want and they have to drill it into the other person. And it's like, this is how much it currently costs new, mate. This is how much it is now, mate. This is how much, and that's second hand, mate. What are you doing? You know, come on, mate. It's not like these are in shortage, mate. It's not that, you know, you don't get the luxury of this, mate. Unfortunately, you may have gotten ripped off, mate, and I don't want to drill it in completely. Okay, so let's give him the benefit of the doubt there. So here we got a budget PC, i5 760 ASRock P55 Pro, 8GB DDR3 RAM, RX 480, 4GB gaming X, really, 1TB HDD with Windows 400 watt power supply, 300 or nearest offer. He's dropped it already to $250. I tell you what, I'd grab that. I would grab that. I was talking non-stop. There it is right there. Nothing special, okay? Bought on the RAM alone, say, look, if you're lucky, 80 to 120, depending on where you look, 75 to 125. But then you chuck in 1TB HDD with Windows, you got a 400 watt PSU that's going to power this monster, and it's a budget PC, but to be honest, you got a 480 4GB gaming X graphics card there. It's got your GDR5, I believe, and that's budget orientated graphics. So you could probably, in this climate, people are trying to push 150 for those, you know, 140, 130. So 130, 230 / 20 / terabyte drive PSU. Got a case, it's handy, and there's no goddamn fans. There's no fans, but he's got a Wi-Fi card in there. Does that come with it? Brad hasn't mentioned that. You could probably get him to throw it in. Brad is again a Facebook pioneer / he's joined Facebook in 2019. So let's go, people. Let's move on. That is a great deal for someone who needs a PC to run little bits and pieces of everything, and to be brutally honest, maybe some games as well. Now that's a budget gaming PC, guys. I shit you not. Just some fans needed, frankly. My old graphics card, on the other hand, 750 Ti, $110 by itself. Open office as well, so dropping down a little bit. It is the Bay. Is that still 2GB? I think that's only a 2GB card, guys. It does have support just barely from NVIDIA regarding the newest titles and whatnot, regarding a little bit of driver support, but it's something that will be phased out sooner rather than later. So very soon it's going to be like a $30 to $50 item. The new graphics cards actually coming to fruition for us. It's well maintained for its age. You can't complain. It probably runs fine. So here we've got another 1660 Ti, people. 6GB model again, an Asus variety, and $40 less than what we had charged before. Just an interesting figure. This warranty's got 3 years, so posting Australia wide, pickup to be advised. For specific parts, builds and pricings, contact me directly. This guy's very, very interesting. I will have to say that I'm going to pause it right there, guys, and you're not going to see what I'm going to do, because it frustrates the hell out of me when marketplace policy is broken. Look at these marketplace listings. Look, this guy shouldn't be on marketplace, frankly. Alright, let's move on. Interesting little find. Fortunately, the parts have pretty much all been sold. 26 Ryzen, 2600, 3 fractal case fans, 1 Thermaltake 650 modular power supply. For $400 you won it in total. That was a stretch, but he's got something that he's come to an arrangement with. Gaming PC, $500 in stock. Medium range gaming PC for sale. Now remember, we've got our $250 monster from just previous past yonder. We got a graphics card, a Radeon RX 560 here, which is similar equivalent. 16 gigabytes of RAM, double the RAM, but guys, processor G4 560, 3.5 gigahertz with stock cooler. It's a mismatch of RAM. He's asking a lot. I'd probably say $400, $399. You wouldn't go near that. Like the other one, on the other hand, is a steel power supply. Is janky as hell, I should say. And yeah, we're gonna move on. So here we go. We've got a GTX 970. This is what I'm talking about when it comes to the hyperinflated market, people. Graphics card, $160 for a 4 gigabyte graphics card from the 9 series. I was not selling my, and he's again show and tell time, guys. Not selling my 1050 Ti here that I got OC model. We'll put that into a better perspective, and that's in perfect condition, guys. If anyone wants to inquire about it, that's going for about $220 right now. No, it's not, because I'm not selling it, but that's how much they were new, okay, just a few months ago, until they sold out in the shops, frankly. So the crazy part is that he's asking $160. That is a lot. I would say, look at the dust on that. Is that almost borderline corrosion or something occurring? You know what I mean? Like, was he a vapor or something? I hate those type of people who just don't care about their stuff. Come on, people. Let's go. What do we got next here? A GTX 750 on the other hand. 2 gigabytes of RAM, $50 in stock. Grab it. Done. Sold. You got me at hello. On the other hand, we got a GTX 750 here. $65. Take $5 on. It's a worse card than the last one, but done. And then we come up to our 32-inch LED TV. It's a Changhong, 100% working order. This guy's in Doncaster, Templestowe, Warrenwood area. Again, it's one of those people. Cooper Winter's got 9 5-star ratings, so hopefully he gets the jizz of white monitors time we get around to it. For $50, oh, she's a thick boy though. She's a thick. Look, for $50, I guess you can't complain. I mean, I was trying to get a really good Samsung 32-inch monitor once. Now I'm considering a 50-inch OLED if I get around to it. It'd have to be that LG variety / specific model that has the 120 hertz on it. That's going to be a massive amount on the hip pocket. 32 inches on the other hand is perfect size for a monitor, spare gaming monitor of some sorts. You've got a console or something, you just chuck that on there. $50, you're sorted, and you don't have to be too close, you don't have to be too far. On the other hand, we've got an Xbox original, $60. She was too scared to take a photo of the original Xbox. She managed to get one offline. That's what's going on here. I'll tell you why, because it comes with 2 controllers. That she's in Noble Park, but for $60, I don't believe that this is even worth getting regardless, honestly, in this day and age. I'll tell you why. You look at Angelina Brown, she's got 9 ratings and she's got less than 2 stars, so something a bit shady's going on there. Perhaps she just hasn't got a good rapport or something, but I'm not 100% sure. Again, we move forward, and look, I don't care if it's pristine condition or not, okay? GeForce GTX 750 Ti graphics card, 2 gigabyte, $170. After what we just established were instant buys for $50 and $65 or less, this is your prestige equivalent model of that variety, and the guy wants more than $100 more for him, $120 more at times, where you could get yourself a 4 gigabyte GTI 1050 OC model for around $150, and I still have people trying to haggle me for it at that price and say I wouldn't go more than $140, $130, and neither would I personally if we had the luxury, frankly. I don't know if this guy understands what's going on. Brand new NVIDIA graphics 2 gigabyte card, bought for assembling a new system, but had to give up the plan. Please text me to arrange an inspection. He's in Geelong, so the Geelong suckers must be prevalent in this market and this day and age, because for 170, yikes, man. Okay, so we've got a computer here. $100 was $150. Interesting. One had 3 burners and 3 HD. Other has a burner and 1 HD. He's from Geelong as well. Dude, what's going on? So why not just list the model number? Everyone's going to be asking you what the model number is. Oh, yikes, that's so grotty. Dude, like, it's the upside down photo of it. Oh my God, that's disgusting. Oh, it's got a floppy drive. What do you do with floppies, kids? I don't know. Just move on. For $100 to them, there might be something special in there, but pretty much it's this day and age, unless you're an enthusiast, you're not going to get much more from it, and an enthusiast will eat that guy up regarding price unless they really want it for a specific reason. So this is a set of computer to sell. Computer set, monitor, desktop, keyboard and mouse to sell. 280 from 280. Used with excellent condition. Pickup in Glen Waverley. Winnie Wing K Chow. Yeah, he's been a battler from 2007. He's got a DVD writer, i5 650, 4 gigabytes of RAM, 2 terabyte hard drive. He's asking way too much in comparison to that fella who was selling that PC for $250, guys. A little bit more, and I don't care what he's showing you there, frankly. That AOC monitor would have been free for him, or $15. It doesn't matter. This computer has lived its day and age, and it's probably right to say it's ready to be put to rest. Go to someone who needs to surf the internet for a job, who's literally down in the dumps, and you should be giving it to them for free, if not for more than a $50. Get them a $50 as well, frankly, if they're getting that PC off you because they're down in the dumps. You know, you just chuck them money as well, just, you know. So it moves us to $150 LGA 1366 board, which is your X58 variant in that regards. X58 UD5 gigabyte, a bit more generic that board is in comparison to some others. See how it's got tri-channel RAM. That's a little nifty little thing that these boards possessed. Unfortunately, the CPU is an i7 930. Could be a little bit more powerful. At least it's the i7 equivalent. Don't know if it's going to boot. He's got no RAM, pulled from a working unit, which everything has been tested and works perfectly for the next user. What comes in the package? Gigabyte IO back, Corsair water cooler, heatsink, screws. So you can't trust that cooler at this age. You could trust my one I have for sale, but you can't trust this one. I don't know how it's ever installed, what was running. It was probably running, you know what I mean, like how long it's been running for. We know it was running, so how much was it overclocked, at what stages, you know, what was going on, how much evaporation has occurred in that water cooler. You just can't tell. It's just not going to be worth it. You can't trust it on a CPU nowadays, this day and age. It is an old piece of junk in regards to an AIO's age. Okay, the X58 board on the other hand, interesting. Without any RAM, not including that, no more than between 90 to 110 or so. Maybe he's got a little bit of merit there. I would not want to go over the 90 figure, like $89 would be a sweet spot, just because that CPU's got a little bit, like I had an interesting, like you can get a lot out of them, but you have to be lucky and you have to have really good cooling. So you're going to find yourself having to purchase another cooler for that to run it at anything that's going to give you any value from it. So it's just something to consider, people. Should have given that a bit more of a wipe just there, just a wipe before you're presenting it, please. I can see that bit of cat fluff just there as well. We've got a desktop PC, i5 16 gigabytes RAM, 250 gigabytes SSD, 750 watt modular power supply for $200. Okay, guys, so you have to consider the fact that we just had an X58 board going for what was $200 slashed to $150. This was slashed from $500, so he was asking a lot. Now he's asking a little. What is going on then? Has desperation come through? We've got a 250 gigabyte Samsung Evo 840, $30, 16 gigabytes DDR3. We'd say maybe $75 depending, it's Kingston. So 75, 115 slash the chip and the board and the power supply. it is a bargain if it worked. Oh, that's in reservoir, so interesting. So 50 bucks, 256 gigabyte. 860 Pro, so it's an 860 Pro, alright, but you only got to get so much from SATA 6, okay? It's never going to take you far as opposed to a new school NVMe, so it's something to consider. 50 bucks for 256 gigabytes flat rate, if you're looking at it, is overpriced even on the new end of spectrum, okay? So it's also something to consider. Actually, no, I may be wrong. It might be about $60 or so for a new drive. He's asking almost top range dollar for that, even though this drive itself would have been worth a little more. It's lived its life. It's only 256 gigabyte drive. It would have been the boot drive for a time, okay? It would have been hammered continuously, on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off. You get the drill here I'm trying to impose on you. So definitely talk him down, please, at the very least, so you don't lose out in case it's faulty in some way, shape or form. On the other hand, we've got a 1 gigabyte graphics card, 8 gigabytes of RAM, i5 3570 at 3.4 gigahertz, 128 gigabyte SSD. Look, guys, runs Fortnite, fast boot up. It does not. How did he manage to get ticks of approval next to his shit? I don't fucking clearly understand. He like runs Fortnite. He's technically correct, okay? And he's technically correct, okay? But guys, look at that fan there. Like, oh my god, look at it. It's goddamn, it looks like a Noctua colored fan that's not Noctua colored. So yeah, we can't give him, no, I've seen those power supplies. So we're going to price him up. We're going to price him up and working parts that are reconditioned. 30, 60, 70, 80, 90, 120, 120, 150. We're at 150. What was he asking? 299. No way. Here on the other hand, we've got a budget light gaming PC, i5, 16 gigabytes of RAM, R9 270 SSD, Windows 10, 1 terabyte drive. It's got an i5 440, so he's asking 350, so he's done $51 more. You probably talk him down. That's a 2 gigabyte graphics card. This, on the other hand, with a 120 gigabyte SSD, 1 terabyte storage drive, and a PSU, clean basic case, and 16 gigabytes of RAM with a slightly stronger processor as well, newer generation, will run Fortnite for you. Not greatly, but definitely will run it, okay? That's a better sort of outcome you've got for only $50 more. It's something to consider, especially when people expect you to, on Marketplace, be bartering as well in some way, shape or form, generally speaking, unless you're very firm. Okay, so we're moving on. We've got 215, we're going up into the list, so we're going into our 5th generation i5 here on the other hand with a Mobo, 16 gigabytes of RAM, 4x4 gigabytes RAM slots at $215. It's a combo, okay? I will also add a SanDisk SSD for 120 gigabyte as a bonus. All are in good working condition, selling due to an upgrade. It's in Hampton, Bentley, it's just around the corner. Interesting. It's one of those PCs that you would break it apart as well, and if you said 50 and 100 to 120 to 35 to 35 to the 175 to the RAM as well, that's 16 gigabytes. It is 4x4 modules, a little bit tacky, but you know, you're going to bump it out with the full 16, and then you add an SSD as well. It's getting close to really well placed to be picking it up very easily and making a system build out of it. Okay, $10 in stock. Take it right now. Sicko Barracuda HDD 750, Samsung HDD guys 750, Intel Pentium CPU $20, Kingston RAM 1 GB, PCI 3 $3 each. One I have 4. So sorry, I'm mistaken here. He listed it for $10 and he's selling it for a lot more than that. Have to reconsider. I don't even know what the processor is. We're gonna have a look here. Pentium D. Here, bro, what are you wasting our time for, yo? $20. Here we go. Let's go, people. Let's go. Hold on. I got a $20 bill, yo. I got a $20 bill, yo. You know what I mean? Okay, so as we move on, we get into the range of what we would call budget conscious orientated build. He's advertising 100 plus frames per second in Fortnite. So we're going to say we hope to God you are right in this case, young man or woman, depending on who you are, because this is legit. They want to sell this. They're providing a warranty for 60 days on parts, and this is Edward. Edward is got 16 stars, so people are happy with his stuff. I have to say, I don't like his SATA connection, frankly. I don't like it at all. He could have got something a little bit less janky. But with that being said, we're going to have a look at his build. i3 9100F AMD RX 570, 8GB. 8GB on the 570. No, that 570 is a 4GB card. See how it's got the little tachycoma there? That indicates it's got 8GB of RAM, more than likely. Now that 570 doing 100 frames per second on new school Fortnite, I don't believe that is the case after the upgrade that has occurred, unless it's playing on esports competition settings, which means no fun for anyone. Okay, so we're going to move on. We're going to probably say he's asking a little too much for it, frankly. We're going to have a look at the case a little bit more. We're going to assess. It's got power supply on top, still interesting. It's got an RGB light going down the front. What are you showing off there, brother? What are you showing off, Mr. System Integrator? So everything seems to be running fine. Great, you got a working computer, bro. GPU on the other hand, see how it mentions 4GB right there? That reinforces that 570 in case you're wondering about the 8GB. I like it how he's placed that like that. It's just so fucking deceiving. It's not funny, but you have to be able to pick that out. I happily do some live streams at times if you've got the chance. My name is Robbie Astral. Welcome to Robbi Tech. Okay, if you have the chance then and I've got the availability, then I'm happily answer your questions regarding certain PC builds and whatnot. If I don't know the answer, I've got the go-to resources available to be able to get that answer for you instantaneously and steer you in the right direction. I don't like this sort of stuff. I like to be blatantly obvious with my approach. I'll say it's got a GTX 560 in it, for example, and an upgrade to the GPU would be worthwhile pertaining to certain aspects of the PC. The PC, on the other hand, the CPU is very strong, and for work-wise, gaming-wise and everything, it's going to be fine, but that's where the upgrade will be needed first, depending on what you're looking at. If you then got yourself your new school GPU that you're going to plan on putting in the new build, you might have a PC build that's very competitive in a short period of time until you got the rest for the new computer itself. Then you can off-sell those parts and make your money back as well. But hey, if you're savvy, that's what you can do. You can always bring it back to me and I'll probably sell it for you as well. So as we climb the ladder, people, we start climbing that ladder. We get to what is essentially an entry-level gaming PC, or is it $750 they're asking for it. 120GB SSD, 1TB HD, 2 4GB, 16 or 8GB, 16GB of course, 16GB of DDR4, 2133, GTX 660, 2GB GPU. Fail. We've got a fail. Okay, Intel i5 7400 at 3 gigahertz. Okay, we got a fail. It's going to cut it close, guys. Prime 250M plus motherboard, 550 watt thermal tech. It's going to cut, of course. We're not going to read what he's writing or what he's reading. It also includes an LG Blu-ray. They hold their value nowadays. So the only things they do is like $70 or $60 or so. You can still have to buy them for $89, but they're a niche thing. Okay, so that's the thing about those. That should have been a 240GB. The graphics card is too weak for that price. It should be 4GB. We've seen better for less. Okay, the processor, if it was a 7700 or something like that. The motherboard's pissant and cheap in comparison to the price that he's asking for. It's something to consider. You're dropping down to 625 maybe, and you definitely have a bargain or a deal, at least something to look at in this day and age. Okay, so back again. So essentially we're going to be finishing up strong now. We're going to have to finish this up. So we're getting into what is essentially Course of Vengeance red LED, 16GB, 3200 megahertz memory, $100. Look, they probably go about 130 to 150 nowadays or something like that, you know, in retail outlets. So, you know, you drop another 10, you've definitely got not necessarily a bargain, but a used price punt hunt that's come to an end, okay, regarding the RAM requirements for yourself. On the other hand, if we go to the next one, we also got two 8GB DDR3 1333 megahertz RAM, okay. I don't care if that's new, frankly. That's also $100, guys. So I, on the other hand, got some 2133 megahertz DDR3, 16 gigabytes of Ripjaws, G-Skill Ripjaws, and I spent about $75 on them. I believe I talked him down from the $85 figure he had originally. Okay, that was definitely, that's heat-synced and primed and stealth-fast, decent DDR3, you know. This is the run-of-the-mill basic stuff that you're going to have regarding Kingston RAM in that regards, because it's only at 1333 megahertz on the DDR3 spectrum, okay. So that's something to consider. If you go back here then for that same price, and RAM modules are generally pretty resilient, okay, so I doubt they do not work. So if they work, you're pretty much set. For that price, this is going into your new PC right now, this day and age, that you're building at a cheaper price than building yourself an old PC just to get it up and running, okay. So you have to consider that, guys, and you have to reconsider this one as well, okay. And then that leaves us with a Intel i5 2300 CPU. It's pink, people, and I like pink, frankly. It's got me all hot and bothered right now. I love that color, as you can see. Let's have a look at the colors on the spectrum of the lights in the room. It's basically being reflected pretty decently. It looks more pinker, frankly. What can I say? The sun's coming in a little bit as well. Now if we go have a look at this CPU, but she looks like she's been maintained. Oh, hang on a minute. LGA 115, yep, DDR3 compatible. Image model for reference specs, other PC parts. Okay, yeah, that's actually one of mine. $50, guys. I would not take it for more than 40, but don't let the person know that I'm selling it to. Okay, let's go. Okay, so guys, my name is Robbie Astral. I hope you enjoyed yourselves today. I hope you got something out of it as well. I hope you learned a little more about used parts PC hunting and a bit of a guide that I pulled through as a result. It wasn't much of a roast today. It wasn't needed for a change. There's plenty of PC parts which are on the exchange, which are ready for your own next build, be it your first, your second, or your third. Let's go, people. And again, my name is Robbie Astral. I appreciate all the support. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of your nights. Peace out, guys.